Yep, they finally figured out the glitch.
Nice advertising.
It's not advertising, it's sponsorship, okay? Good morning and welcome to AM News Network Presents the Morning Report with Rachel Baird, Ed Peruta, and we are joined this morning, as we usually are on Thursday mornings, by community resident Chris Janko. The community being Harwinton, Connecticut.
Our big city.
Morning Report airs live every Monday through Thursday from 7 to 7:30 a.m. Usually it's just me and Ed. We also do a show, Summary Judgment, on Saturdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Ed will be joining us shortly. He is performing the function of master control today, as well as talent. So, Chris, how are you doing this week?
Well, I came in off the back, and I came in here. I said to myself, I go, well, I'm hunting wallabies, and I'm going to come in here and do the podcast. So here I am. So I thought to myself, I'm on vacation this week.
Was that New Zealand?
Yeah, I came in right from
Or maybe Australia.
Actually,
Hey, buddy, did you get a haircut?
I got a haircut.
Well, look at
Jesus, you're looking pretty
got one
good.
cut.
You're looking pretty good this morning.
Yeah, my son, who's moved out of my house, is now a barber, and a professional barber because he gets paid for it. So he's got his own place now, and he works up in Litchfield. So anybody who wants to get a good haircut from a kid that knows what he's doing, I'll tell you, he's got a following. There's people in California that follow my son. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anybody who's gone from.
All right, so here's the deal.
Well, where's the...
Here's the deal. You saw in the opening
Yeah.
that this program is made possible through the support of Attorney Rachel Baird.
I did see that.
All right. Why don't you talk to your son? Have him give me some type of a business card where we can get, at least to the people that are local. I can't give it to Howard in Bangkok, but I mean.
Well, he doesn't have any money to put into the
Well, no,
kitty
no,
yet.
it's not money.
No,
It's not money.
No. He gives us gift cards for a haircut. Standard male, whatever. He doesn't do females, does he?
He's able to do females because he went to beauty. He actually went to beauty school.
I think they can go either way.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, have him give us a stack of cards where we can tell people in the Litchfield County area, call into the show, and we send them the card. They go to your son.
Okay, I'll see what he can do.
And then no money exchanged hands, and through his support. And I would say that to anybody else.
Like a free haircut or something like that.
Yeah, or
discount.
50% off,
10%.
All right,
10%.
I'll talk to him
10%. Let's
about
not
that,
go
'cause
crazy.
It's not really his salon. It's his.
He rents a
barbershop.
chair.
Actually, not yet. Not
Okay.
yet. He's just
Well,
started. He just started,
okay.
but he's.
Look,
he's
we
Well,
don't-
Ed is always looking for a place to get his hair cut.
Well,
So,
I
Ed, you're
know.
going to try.
Please.
You're going to try
You
it
look
and
a little
report
bushy.
back. Okay.
Right. Okay. Let me.
I'll talk to him. About it.
There's something that I want to talk about that I think is very important this morning. How are people going to spin a Bernie Sanders supporter going to Virginia and shooting members of Congress, at least one, okay, the whip, and then how are they going to spin that to be, anti-gun?
They already have. They already.
I want to say it was Paul Ryan or somebody, Paul Ryan said, had there not been a Capitol Police detail assigned to the whip to return fire, it would have been
It would have been.
a slaughter.
Yeah.
And that is what I'm trying to say to people on a regular basis is these congressmen, now I'm going off mainstream media reports, I guess went there at 5:30 in the morning to practice their baseball game to get ready for, I think it's maybe today's game. And how did he know they were going to be there? Well, they probably posted on Facebook, we're going to practice, whatever. But somebody has to realize that that is a situation where, granted, he was a member of law enforcement or protective service from the Capitol Police. That's a good guy with a gun responded to a bad guy with a gun and probably saved a lot of lives.
And I believe that gun came in over state lines too. The bad guy. So that's something that has to be looked into. If we've got rules in place, how is it that the good guys have to follow the rules, but as we all know, bad guys don't follow rules. They don't follow laws.
We got to give Rachel a chance. When I was a kid, okay, there were the common phrase of the teenagers or the gang members in Hartford, because they used to call them frats, but they were gangs. Zip guns, where you could take a little piece of copper tubing, put a 22 in it, and an elastic band with a nail, okay, and it would literally shoot a 22. It wasn't accurate, but it would put a projectile into somebody at close range. So there's always going to be some type of firearm in the hands of bad guys, and what they want to do is disarm the good guys. So, but my condolences to the members of his family. I wish him a speedy recovery. But there are things happening around us that people do not pay attention to, or their antenna doesn't come up over these
I'd like
incidents.
to wonder why Maxine Waters isn't being investigated for causing all this, where she's calling the president a traitor and everything. When you've got people calling the president out to be a traitor, you've got Nancy Pelosi, you got, Schumer. They're calling the president this. And we still have not found one bit of evidence that he colluded with the Russians. But they're saying that, oh my God, he should be impeached for being a traitor. And there's people that sit at home and watch this, and they're like shining their guns up and everything, and they're going, well, I got to go out and do my part as a
patriotic American.
A patriotic American, and I'm going to go assassinate the president because these elected officials are.
Donald Trump was my president the day he walked down the escalator. My choice the day he walked down the escalator. He was my choice every day he went on stage in a debate. He was my choice as a candidate. He was my choice as president-elect. He is now my president as the president. And I would like to remind the Democrats of a peanut farmer from Georgia who came up into Washington politics without, quote-unquote, paying his dues on the national political scene.
Well, he had held political office, though.
He had been the governor of Georgia.
Yeah.
He had some executive level
difference.
But what I'm saying is, he came up with ideas and they chased his ass out of town. Because the people inside the beltway of Washington, D.C. want to keep things the way they are. In other words,
Yep.
I'm a pig. I'm in a pigsty. I get a big bucket of grain every day. Please, don't change the way, don't make me go out and forage for acorns in the woods and try to find my food. Deliver it to me.
Yeah, but let's talk about this. We're all three conservatives here. And we're all Jimmy Carter back in the day when Jimmy Carter was elected. Barack Obama was elected. Now, don't take this the wrong way. But if Barack Obama got hit by a bus, I probably wouldn't have lost a lot of sleep. But I never ever woke up any given day of the week and thought to myself, I need to go out and take care of that guy. I need to go out and because I believe that Americans that are on the conservative side, we are law-abiding citizens. I do believe this Antifada crowd, they're a bunch of kooks. They are off the chart kooks that are out there, and they believe that they can individually take part in changing the makeup of how this country is politically governed. And I think we're starting to see it. We're starting to see it. Anybody who thinks they can go to a protest event and throw bike, what do you call the bike holder? Bike racks through windows of schools that they're going to are dangerous people. And then we watch our government officials say, stand down, stand down. We need to go out and start making examples of these people. Now, I'm not saying break legs or anything, because you don't want to do that kind of stuff, but they need to be taken off to jail. They need to be handcuffed, taken off to jail. They need to have police records, because if we ever did that right now, if I ever went out right now and did anything of that, even remotely of that nature, you would see me, number one, get a police record, lose my job, probably lose my home. There's consequences to all this stuff. Why aren't there consequences to these people? The other person we have to start looking at more is George Soros. George Soros is financing a lot of this stuff. I always say, look, follow the money, follow the money. If you don't have somebody financing these Antifada people, then you're going to see them go away, because they really don't have any reason to be out there. These people don't even have a clue why they're out there. All they know is they're getting paid. So somebody's putting a check in their account. Sign up, okay, that's me. What are we protesting here? We're protesting Donald Trump. Oh yeah, that. Yeah, here
buses,
I am.
Transportation, lodging, meals.
It gets ridiculous.
To cover expenses, to cover, whatever.
But the more important thing is that they're feeling a sense of importance. And now, when they don't have anything in their lives, and somebody's paying you to feel important about yourself, now you're gonna see one of these kooks will be the one that'll stand out and do something out of the ordinary. And
what I thought about yesterday was, I don't think a political spin should be put on any of this stuff. I mean, I don't think conservatives should put a political spin on what happened yesterday. And when other things happen and liberals put a political spin on it, I don't think it's right then either. This is an aberration, what this man did yesterday. It's a criminal act. There may be mental health issues. But to me, case closed. It's nobody's fault. Who says things or does things, exercises their First Amendment right. This man did it. He's responsible for it, and that's what it comes down to. And so I take that position, even though we could say, oh, Bernie Sanders supporter, I wonder how he's feeling now, because if it was a Donald Trump supporter that did that, certainly they'd be all over us. I don't think it should go either way. But let me point
You're right.
Let me point this argument out that anti-gun people might make in response to your argument that thank goodness there was a good guy there with a gun. We all know that there are certain states like California that say, if you want a permit, you have to have good cause. You have to be under threat. You have to be in a position, blah, blah, blah. Well, these people yesterday morning were in a position where they were deemed to need protection. And so they had that protection by...
Actually, just by...
Whoa.
Actually, only one of them was...
Okay.
One, because the whip is the number 3 man in the House of Representatives, and he is, in fact, in the line of succession to the presidency. So only one person there had a security detail, because he was a high-ranking...
And who's that? Do we know who it is?
Scalise.
The one that's
Representative Scalise.
Okay.
So if he wasn't there, if he called out and said, "Geez, I have to go,"
there would have been nobody there,
and they would have been all murdered.
But coming back at that, he was the one that was shot, so maybe he was the target. So
the guy fired.
The whole concept that he needs protection because
I heard this last night.
But you know where I'm going with this, right?
There are mainstream media reports, and really, it's going to take a week for the facts to really settle in. Supposedly, he shot 40 to 50 rounds and hit 3 people.
Yeah, that's...
I have to tell you.
Don't say it, Ed. Don't say it.
No. I have to tell you. When you are in a confrontational situation, exchanging bullets from firearms, It is not like you see in the movies. Bang, he falls. Bang, he falls. It doesn't happen like that. You miss a lot of times. But I just want to add something before we get too far away from it. You made the statement that there's 3 conservatives sitting here. Have you pretty much been a conservative your entire adult life?
I would say for at least the past 20 years.
Okay. Well, I have to tell you something. If you go back to Kimberly Dvorak's article in the Examiner, it's an online media, that was the first person who interviewed me about my gun case. And I was very proud at the time to say, it might surprise everybody, I'm a die-in-the-woods liberal Democrat.
I knew there was something I didn't like about you.
And I said, and I come from the Constitution state. I was raised in the shadow of Concord and Lexington. I've been to the graves of Paul Revere and the rest of them in the church cemetery in Boston. Just being at that graveyard does something to you. How did I get from a die-in-the-woods liberal Democrat who voted first time around for Barack Obama? And to get to where I am today. Now, I know, and I'm not going to speak for her, but I know that in the beginning of her firearm exposure and practice, Attorney Rachel Baird was not a gun person. And I don't think you're a gun person today. She said, I am a person who supports and defends the Constitution of the United States in my practice. The provisions of the Constitution is something that Rachel defends. And we had conversations in this building and in other offices before we got here where we said, open carry, it's legal. But if the legislature in Hartford mandated concealed carry and it passed the legislature, signed by the governor and enacted, correct me if I'm wrong, Rachel, you would support and explain to clients the law is you must conceal.
But if a client came in and wanted to challenge that and say it violated the Constitution in some manner, then we'd look at that
and they had the resources
and make a decision, right?
But what I'm saying is, I don't know how much of a conservative you are for the past 20 years, or whether the temperature kept rising over the 20 to the point where it's boiling in 2017. But I will tell you this: I'm a fucking conservative now.
Here's how much
I am so anti, and I don't want to even put the label liberal on it. I am so anti-radical. I am so anti change to socialism that I will give my life to protect this country for what I believe the founding fathers wanted.
Well, there's actually 2 types of different directions that we could go. We could go towards 100% towards socialism, or we could go 100% towards fascism. And I believe that these Antifada people are 100% fascist, because anybody who does not want discourse and to have discourse, like when you have somebody like Ben Shapiro, who I suggest everyone start watching some Ben Shapiro YouTube videos. The guy is absolutely mind-blowing when he does his lectures. But a lot of times he goes to these colleges and he can't get an audience because they basically stand up and start chanting and everything. And it comes right down to it. These people have only one agenda. They want to shut down free speech. And when you want to shut down free speech, you're basically shutting down the premise of what our country's been founded on. And I can't even tell you that they're very dangerous people. They're very dangerous people.
Well, I was reading something that said it's a mental exercise to listen to people that you don't agree with.
Absolutely.
And I know that you used to listen to Rush Limbaugh and you didn't agree with
As
him.
a liberal.
Right. And it's hard to do that for me because you get irritated. I get irritated and I try to avoid stress in my personal life because there's enough in my professional life. So
Yeah, but why do you get irritated?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because they
Rachel
don't
has
have a
Rachel has
case.
that. Rachel explained yesterday when you weren't here that she has this thing. Like if she gets upset, she'll take a person's photograph and turn it upside down on the table.
Right.
I'll tell you something else she does. Let's say I say, Rachel, I said, here's a thing of Elmer's glue that you wanted. She's driving down the road and I'm on the phone and I get pissed and she gets pissed at me and does something. That fucking glue.
I do not do that.
She tends
I do
not
not
just
do
flipping the picture over.
Okay, stop.
I seen her with a
That's
piece of
not
red
true.
meat in her mouth. Going
No,
like this.
Oh yeah, oh no.
But let's get back.
Rachel,
Let's get back.
please.
So I'm trying to think why these people at the colleges would not want to listen to Ben Shapiro, for example. Is it because it's so irritating to them to hear his point of view? Because
No.
Or is it because they don't want him to convey his point of view because it might make sense and people might sit up and start listening?
Well, when you're an attorney, when you start losing an argument, what you do is you try to bring the facts around and argue harder. When you're a person that has no argument, the only thing you can do is, you get to the point where you have to lash out. Yeah, you'll see that with these people. Ben Shapiro is, number one, he's absolutely a genius intellect. He has the brain power that I can't even, conceive. But what he does is he argues with perfection. He just brings it around, and you get these people, and usually they're young, dopey kids. They're young, dopey kids that think they're, just because they're in college, that they command a presence. And what you find out is they have no argument. They have no facts. He brings facts to the table. He brings a concise argument. So
I can cover, and very briefly, I can cover what you and Rachel have both said. You're right. I was a die-in-the-woods liberal, and I made it a habit to listen to Rush Limbaugh. I had heard 30, 40 years ago.
Do you listen to Rachel Maddow now?
I don't even know who she is.
Oh,
yeah.
See, that would be a test.
What I'm saying is this: probably 40 years ago, I had seen an interview of a top-level debating team in college, and they asked them, "How did you win?" And they said, "The secret to winning is you have to know your opponent's position better than they do."
Exactly.
So what did I do as a practice? I would listen to Rush Limbaugh every afternoon saying, okay, what is the issue? Because I believed that Rush Limbaugh had some facts to back up his beliefs, and he is an icon of conservative thought. So you're right. I did that. And I won't go any further than that other than to say, as a conservative, I would now listen to Colin McEnroe. For all of my time as a die-in-the-woods liberal Democrat, I was extremely impressed because here's what Colin McEnroe has going for him, and this is what carries him. It's his life preserver in life. He has such a handle on the English language, and he's a wordsmith.
And Colin McEnroe used to be a Hartford Courant reporter, and he does a show on NPR now.
Right. Colin McEnroe
and he's funny. He's got comedy.
Is a master of words.
But he has, since Trump was elected, like a lot of people,
gone off the
rails. He's obsessed with Trump and cannot get off of it. And he has lost it. It's like the other newspaper reporter who you and I both admire and love. You know, they have just gone off the rails. And
Who's that newspaper reporter?
Dave
Owens?
Yeah, I love him, but he just is obsessed with Trump.
Yeah. Well, my thing is what can we agree that there's something to do with the Hillary and Bill Clinton Foundation? Can we all agree about something like that?
Right.
Now, can we agree that the Benghazi thing was never really investigated to the point where there's a lot of people, oh, that was investigated. So when you go to the other side and see all the things that we could go back and the guns for arms, and we could go back and probably 10, 20 of these things, how is it that we keep going to this Russian collusion thing where we're, oh yeah, the Russians
Running out of time.
I don't even know.
Running out of time. Go and watch the movie Patton with George C. Scott. And the only thing I want you to pay attention to is in the movie, George C. Scott, portraying George Patton, is standing on a hill overlooking like a battlefield. And he goes, Rommel, I read your book. I knew your strategy. No, you dickhead. You had Enigma. You were reading all of the radio transmissions, but under the British Official Secrets Act, I think it was 35 years until it could be released. So 45, 75. So in 1980, here's George C. Scott making it like I outsmarted you by reading your book. And then all of a sudden it comes out, we had the Enigma. We were reading all of the German codes, and we were telling George Patton exactly what Rommel was going to do the next day. So please don't start giving me
my
bullshit.
only point is we need to get up to present day with this whole thing, and we need to start taking the Democrats and start saying, you know what, we're going to start investigating
What do you think it was like? And this is probably 10 years ago, no more than 20 years ago. Now, this is the 49th anniversary of my being in Vietnam. Next year is the 50th year. What do you think it was like to hear Robert McNamara in his 80s or 90s, who was the Secretary of Defense, say the Gulf of Tonkin was a bunch of bullshit to get us involved? He came out and he admitted that it was all untrue. Now, I wouldn't change anything in my life except bringing back friends that are now gone. You know, the young kids that I was with. But what do you think it's like to find out 40 years from now exactly what happened in Benghazi? And I'm telling you right now, the whole story is still not been told.
No, absolutely not.
And these stories of 9/11 have still not been told.
Well, the weapons of mass destruction, that hasn't been told. What was that all about? I mean, that's what started this whole...
Exactly.
This whole
and I'll tell you something else. Megyn Kelly's taken her hit for having Alex Jones on, and the Newtown families are sitting there criticizing because, and I go like this, you're the ones that wanted secrecy. You're the ones that didn't want any photographs, no autopsy reports. When the school was being torn down, the contract, not one piece of that school was to be saved. You know, you're the one who created a vacuum of information. Somewhere in the Newtown story, there's a vacuum. And inside the vacuum, conspiracy theories flourish. You know, it's bullshit. And I got to go in because we're going to have to end the
I know. You're
29.
playing two roles today. You're a busy man. That's master control.
Well, listen. Go ahead.
We're going to sign off. This is Rachel Baird.
Chris Janko.
You going to be back next Thursday?
Sure, I'll come
You're still going to be on vacation?
Oh, I wish I was.
Back to work, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, well, join us this Saturday for Summary Judgment from 4 to 6 p.m. We'll have another guest from Harwinton named Brooke Cheney on. She'll be talking about her shooting school and also her trip to D.C. Have a great day. So Sabrina taking off too, or just you?
No, just me.
Well, good for you.
So, so much stuff around the house and everything
Yeah.
to do. So. But yeah, you should
Oh,
get
we're
out
not
there.
supposed to talk. We're not supposed to talk. It's, oh God.
Oh, this is, so if I got my son's thing there, put it up there.
Yeah, we could have a whole list of them at the end.